Welcome to Weekday Somatics. Um, Merry Christmas Eve. So let's, if possible, let's sit upright. If it's not possible, then don't do that. I've got some. I have an idea of what we're going to do. I'm pretty excited about it. We'll see what happens. We're going to start out by exploring the ears. So I'm gonna. I don't think I need them anyway for this portion. I just leave them on sometimes because sometimes maybe somebody wants to say something, but I'm not going to wear the headphones for the first part of it, so I won't be able to hear. But I'll try to look at the screen just in case anybody needs anything. I'll turn on the chat feature as well. I mean, it's on. I'll open it so I can see if anybody sends a message. So let me take the headphones off. And so we're going to, as usual, we're going to find a posture that we can inhabit or that we think we might be able to for the next 30 minutes or so. And let me clarify, I think it's maybe clear, but it's maybe not clear. So let me just take a moment to clarify what I really mean by that. So the question is, really the invitation here, when I say inhabit the posture for 30 minutes or so, what I'm suggesting is, and inviting us to, is to find the stillness within the posture and to align ourselves with that. Probably should not be such a active, I shouldn't use such an active verb there, because the alignment, rather than us doing the alignment, we're allowing ourselves to, it's like settling into that alignment or receiving that alignment. So we're exploring our habits of strain and struggle. We're exploring how it is that we are making effort to resist the stillness that's here. The stillness is not, that I'm referring to, is not an idea. It's not a theory. It's not something that you should imagine is somewhere off in the future that you're going to attain at some point. Or also don't don't dismiss this as some sort of nonsense, because I'm pointing to and inviting us all to explore an actual experience that's available to us. So we could say physically, I would say really more somatically, we can we can become more aware of this stillness, and we can discover how that stillness can inform our physicality. So we can actually become still in the body. And rather than that stillness being something that is a product of strain or restraint, which I think is what most of us have learned in our lives. We learned maybe in school we were supposed to sit still. Maybe when we were children, there were times when our caregivers told us to be still. And maybe because we were afraid, maybe because we didn't get better instruction, maybe because of whatever reasons, we wrongly learned that to equate stillness with restraint. We wrongly learned that to be still required that we had to try really hard. And the stillness that I'm inviting us to is not that kind of false stillness. It's not something that we do. It's something that we can become clearer on. It's something that's already present, and we can just become clearer on it as we become aware of our habits of restraint and strain, and we soften those and release those so that we naturally find ourselves in alignment with that stillness, and we find that we are supported by that stillness. So again, this is an actual experience that's available. And it's available to all of us now. So that the posture that we're inhabiting is it's like a vehicle for exploration. It's a vehicle for play. It's a vehicle for inquiry. It's not an external it's not an external ideal. Okay, I'm taking a little bit of time with all of this now, and it's because I think it's important, this clarification. Okay, because to me, to just be still and explore that stillness is a very, very rich opportunity. And really, it's at the heart of this kind of inquiry. And from my perspective, it is what offers the benefits. The conditioned mind, which is, for me at least, the conditioned mind is always wanting to know, what can I do? What do I do? What do I do? You just give me a list of tasks to do so that I can accomplish something, so I can get something in the future, and I'll do it. So the conditioned mind, I find, can grow impatient with this kind of stillness, because it wants something to do. It wants to get on to the important thing, according to it, which is something to do. But my experience reveals to me that the real benefits come out of this stillness. It's not from the doing. It's the movements that we do, the specific details of the different inquiries that we do are of secondary importance. They're only there to help shine a light on our habits so that we can become aware of those, and then we can release those and release into that alignment with this stillness so that we can receive the benefits of the stillness. It is this stillness and our conscious alignment with it that allows for the benefits at a physical level, at an emotional level, at any level that we receive benefits, and all those benefits are real. You see what I mean? I always say I've got a plan, then 11 minutes in. None of that was part of the plan. Okay, so now here we are, we're in this posture, and we're just exploring, how can I do less? And let's look for the low-hanging fruit. How can I do less? Well, the low-hanging fruit, the good news from my perspective is that the low-hanging fruit, we don't have to go looking for it. It's here. It's so obvious and evident. So any any aspect of my experience presently that I am aware of, that I have reaction to, resistance to, where I notice strain, effort, pain, discomfort, that's the low-hanging fruit. Now, this is very different, obviously, than what most of us learned in terms of how to be successful in life, because most of us probably learned you've got to work hard and achieve success. Here we're looking at our weakness, our failure, our frustration, our disappointment, grief, fear, pain. And we're not trying to fix it. We're actually being curious about its actual nature. So as it presents itself, and I find personally, but you may find differently, but personally, I find that it's the so-called physical discomforts that really present themselves most loudly. So that's the low-hanging fruit. So I notice what I call some discomfort in the right lower abdomen area. Now, you notice whatever you notice. And my question for myself, and you can ask yourself this question, is well, first of all, before I ask the question, let me provide the context for the question. Okay, so the context for the question is this possibility. What if this experience or this aspect of experience that's presenting itself to me uh, is actually the opportunity that I've been searching for my whole life? What if I've been wrong about it in all of my judgments? And what if, despite all of my protestations, all of my evidence that I have, all of my memories, all of the agreement in the world out there about how this is so bad and wrong and horrible and scary and so forth, what if I've been wrong and this is that big, wonderful opportunity? And all I have to do is be open to it and receive it and allow it to reveal its true nature to me. And in that, for me to allow it to reveal my true nature to me. So that's the context. What if, can I just be open to that possibility? Now, within that context, I can ask the question, is it possible for me to choose right now to let go of something? Is it possible for me to choose right now to soften? Is it possible for me to choose right now to release the strain, the effort, without knowing the right answer in advance, without knowing how to do that in advance, without having an image or a map or a plan or instructions to follow, because all of those things, the map, the plan, the image, etc., that all comes from the past. It's all from mechanical memory. And that's all based on my prior wrong understanding, my prior wrong assumptions that led only to dissatisfaction. So can I choose now to soften, release, and receive without knowing how? And the answer is yes. The answer to that question is yes, but I have to really be willing to take that leap. So if possible for you, which it is, just take that leap right now in a small way. It's a small leap, a very small leap, but just wherever you notice that strain, discomfort, numbness, whatever it is that's presenting itself as the low-hanging fruit, can you and will you choose now just to take that small leap and just let go, just soften, just release without knowing how, without the assurance that you're going to be successful, without any of the things that you've relied on in the past for a false sense of security. And as you get the hang of it, you may discover that there's a flow to this, that it naturally presents itself as you choose to release, to soften, to let go of the old habits of strain, resistance, defensiveness, argumentativeness, rightness. You'll likely start to notice that you can just continue. It's one leads to the next, to the next, to the next. There's a flow. So as I soften and release without knowing how, without concern about getting it right, and without making any movement, without exerting effort in the area where I was calling my attention. And as I continue to just gently maintain that softness and that release, that surrender into the support that's underneath me, eventually, usually sooner rather than later, I start to notice a shift. Now, at first, it seems wrong. It seems difficult. It seems strenuous to release the strain. But as I just gently remain with it, then there's a shift, and that shift the shift is from a sense of wrongness to a sense of rightness, clarity. Ah, now I see. That's what I've been doing. I don't need to do that anymore. This is better. So then the next low-hanging fruit presents itself. Now I notice in the right buttock something. Also in the waist. So I just do this, just the same thing, just over and over and over. Softening, resting, allowing, releasing, surrendering. So now, allowing yourself to remain anchored in that, that's the core of the inquiry. From that, if possible, if not possible for you right now, then just remain just with that. But if it's possible for you to remain with that flow of awareness and surrender and release and alignment, receiving the support that's here as an actual experience, not an imagined one, but a real felt experience, then here's what we can do. We can take our hands and we'll place them around the ears. So the fingers are, how do I describe this? Okay, so it's like you're gonna grab a ball and you take, like you're gonna grab a ball, imagine like there's a ball stuck to your ear and you're gonna grab that and your fingers come around the ear so that the thumb is underneath the earlobe, and you can sort of slide it up and you can feel that there's the neck, the jaw, and the skull all come together here, and you can feel that there's like an indentation underneath the ear, behind the earlobe there. You can just kind of slide your thumb up into that, and then the rest of the fingers come above and behind the ear, so that I know my camera's washed out, but it's like you can push the earlobe forward. And so we're going to do that with both ears if possible. If not, then you do what's appropriate. And then notice what you're doing with the arms. So can this be easier? So you could play with the placement of the arms. So I notice, for example, that I started out with my elbows out to the side, and that's maybe slightly strenuous. So I find maybe, possibly, it's an exploration, so I can't say for sure, but I find that presently, it seems that bringing the elbows forward so that I can allow the upper arms to rest against the front of the chest is less strenuous. But you explore to see what's true for you. Now, don't pull too hard on the ears, but do allow the weight of your arms to lend a gentle tug to the ears so that you can feel the ears being differentiated in your awareness from the skull. So you'll notice perhaps there's a whole bunch of complexity there that you can start to sense both internally and externally. Externally, I mean through the fingertips, you can feel and sense. And inwardly, you can have a sense of what the ears feel like. Now, if it's comfortable enough or not too strenuous or too uncomfortable for you, then let's explore this possibility of we're going to keep the hands here where they are, and we're going to explore slowly letting the head tip forward as we're keeping the rest of the spine comfortably, pleasurably upright, so that it's like the head is, well, not like, the head is, the skull is atop the spine, and the skull is tipping forward, but the rest of the spine is remaining upright. And then let's tip the head up, not excessively, just slightly up. And then down, so that the chin is coming toward the chest. And then up. So you're just keeping the hands where they are. You're not pulling, but there's just a gentle tug from the weight. And allow the ears to soften, so that the ears are passive in this process, in this exploration. So we're just slowly, gently allowing the head to make this movement. It's a small one, don't exaggerate it. Just let it be a small movement. And really sense what's happening with the ears. Are you getting clearer on the shape of the ear? I am. I'm finding that I'm getting much, much clearer on the shape of the ear. Turns out the shape of my ear is very different than I thought. I find that my ears are getting my ears are getting bigger, floppier. I'm like Dumbo. You remember Dumbo? Probably politically incorrect. All right. So of course we could do more than just up and down. We could try a lot of things. So of course you rest if you need, don't strain. Let your arms and hands rest if you need at any point. But if and when you're ready, we'll keep the hands as they are. Make sure you check in that your shoulders and your arms are as restful as possible, so that you're not straining. Oh, yeah. So how about this? Let's keeping the hands here. Now let's slowly open and close the jaw. So we're going to release the jaw. We're not going to pull it open. We'll just release the jaw and then close the jaw. And then, well, there's so much we could do here. I'm pretty excited about this. Okay. Now let's see. What about if we allow the jaw to remain open and soft and relaxed and neutral, passive, as we also now combine that with the up and down movement of the head. See what that's like. And see that you can remain aware of the ears. So we're introducing these movements, but see that you can remain aware of the ears, the both inwardly and externally, so that you can, it's like you're cross-referencing what you feel with your fingers and what you sense inwardly. And then we're introducing this movement, and the movement provides us with even more feedback that helps us, maybe, definitely, not even maybe, definitely, helps us to get clearer on the ears. Not just the ears, though. I mean, the focus here is on the ears, but do you notice that your face feels different? Can you feel your cheeks differently? All right, let's do one more thing, if if you're up for it, which is now we can let the head drop down like the skull, so the skull is tipping forward. Let the jaw remain soft and open, passive in this process. The hands are still on the ears. And then keeping the head relaxed and passively tipping forward, and the jaw relaxed and passive. Keeping the hands where they are and not pushing or pulling or straining in the arms or the shoulders. So there's a lot to be aware of. It's a lot. Okay. But see that you can do it. Let it be light and gentle. Don't push. Let's explore keeping all of that passive as we turn the head to the left. It's a small movement. Don't try to exaggerate it. And then release. And then to the right. And release. So let's just do that back and forth slowly. Can you allow the throat to remain relaxed and open? Can you allow the tongue to remain relaxed? All right, and then slowly release the arms and hands. And very slowly allow yourself to explore upright. Make it a very, very slow, deliberate exploration to find vertical. It's not going to be the same as before. It's not going to be the same as your habit. So don't try to recreate the same uh, habitual way. Let the ears remain soft. Let the jaw remain soft. Let the face remain soft. And if you have had your eyes closed, then begin to explore without any suddenness, slowly opening the eyes. And just take a moment. So take your time with that. Don't rush in the opening of the eyes. But when you do open the eyes, really take the time to see that you can remain aware somatically, even with eyes open. So with the eyes open, all of this visual data is occurring. And most of us are likely used to referencing that visual data to tell us how we're doing, if we're succeeding or not, if we appear correct or not. And if we allow ourselves to fall into that habit, we will likely quickly start to rely on the visual data and our interpretation, our habitual interpretation of it, and we'll fall right back into the same habits. But if we just remain aware somatically, we can allow for an integration of the visual data and our somatic awareness, so that this shift of the shift of releasing into alignment can carry over into our eyes open experience, which from my perspective is important because most of us have our eyes open a lot. Continue to take your time with that. There's no rush. I am going to end the recording for today, and then for those who are here live, we'll stay on for the Q&A. To those who are watching the recording, thanks for joining.